putting together your go bag. We have gone over this before, and I'm not going to spend much time on it, but Seattle does a really good job of figuring out what their hazards are. It's the top 18. You'll notice that volcanoes are really low. Not a big deal for us here in Seattle. Different parts of the Pacific Northwest, sure, but not here in Seattle. Number one is always earthquakes, not because we have them very often, but because if they were to occur, they're a big deal. They impact everything around us. Hopefully, if you've taken my classes before, you've seen this list before. The reason I'm talking about it now is on that list, the ones that we shelter in place for are 7 out of the top 9 hazards we don't outrun. I hear people talking about a go bag. And in our environment, in the city of Seattle, there's really nothing that you outrun. We don't get a heads up that an earthquake's coming. We do get some heads up that we're having weather situations, but you typically don't outrun those. You just sit tight and you shelter in place, and hopefully you're prepared enough that you can weather the week and a half of with no power. Sometimes we may leave the environment, but we're not outrunning a disaster. I hear the terminology of my go bag a lot. And what strikes me is this idea that you're going to put 14 gallons of water per person in a backpack and you're going to walk out of the disaster zone with all this water and all this food. Even putting it in your car would be difficult, I think. I really want to emphasize this idea of sheltering in place. What I do is I talk about a stay box in your household, in your home. Think about having a stay box. It's just the stuff you need to stay put where you are, shelter in place, take care of yourself, take care of your household. I talk about a stay box. For me, this is what's in a stay box. You would have this for things like an earthquake, severe weather, power outage. Anytime you're just going to hunker down, stay put, ride it out. We've talked about having all this kind of stuff. This is really the basics, but stay box is this kind of stuff. The next thing is a get home bag. This is the bag that's in your car or underneath your desk at work so that if you had to walk home after a big earthquake, you could. It would be more comfortable. Things in your get home bag are these kinds of things. What would it take to make that walk home more comfortable? And this is all going out in an email. You might have gotten it before class started, but it's definitely going to come out with the recording. For me, this is stuff in a bag I picked up from somewhere. I just threw it all together and it's sitting underneath the seat of my car. Some people put it in the back of their car. Again, some people put it under their desk. Some people have a mini version of this in their commuter bag. That's the get home bag. What we're here to talk about tonight is the go bag. And this is something that literally, mine is a backpack. It is a red backpack in my hallway closet. It's what I would pick up, put on my back, walk out the door with if I had time. This is what's in mine. This is what I'm suggesting you think about to put in yours. Again, this list, you're going to get it. You don't need to write all this down. Some clothing. So this is stuff that I would want to grab if and I'm not saying my house is on fire or my apartment's on fire, because if that's the case, I'm probably going to rush out the door and not grab anything. I'm probably in PJs and I'm just scrambling to get out. But if there was time, if I was jumping into the back of an ambulance, either I'm the one that's injured or somebody in my household is injured, and I have an extra second and I'm going to walk past that closet that's right there by the door anyway, grab this red backpack. Or if there's a flood and you have time. So grab this stuff only if it's safe to grab it. T-shirt, underwear, socks for everybody in your family. So sort of a change of clothes, not really. Toothbrush, toothpaste, a roll of quarters. If I'm sitting in an emergency room, waiting room, I want quarters to operate that vending machine. A power bank, because I want my cell phone to keep working. Phone charger and plugs and cords. I have that in there. Paper and pen. If I need to write down anything, if somebody's giving me directions, I'm talking to a physician in the emergency room, I want to be able to write stuff down. So paper and pen. Extra set of keys. With my vehicle, and I think this is pretty common, you get two sets of keys. You have an extra set, put it in this bag. It's got to go somewhere in your household. Throw it in this bag. You know exactly where to find it if you need it, but it's there if you ever have to grab this bag and kind of run. Insurance cards, that's a really good idea to put those in there. For me, I have the medical history of my family. We have it on our phones, but I also have a printout. My thinking was if I'm in the emergency room, I can either hand my phone to the intake nurse and show her all medications we're on, chronic diseases, all that, I've had this surgery and whatever. I can either show that to her on my phone or I can hand her the piece of paper. If I'm really distressed, I don't want to try and think about whether or not my kiddo had a tetanus shot. Medical history is something to think about. Medication list is really a good idea. And then extra medications. In my household, when a new pill bottle comes into my household, that pill bottle goes in the red bag. The one that's in the red bag gets pulled out and gets put in the bathroom. So that's how we rotate medications in my household. I do not want to take a stash of medications, put it in that red bag, and let it sit there for 6 months. The medication might expire, the dosage and everything might change. That's how we rotate medications in my household. New bottle of pills come into my household, it goes into that red bag, my go bag, and the one that was in that bag goes into the bathroom and gets used. I pulled out what's in our go bag. Up here in the top, this is t-shirts, socks, and underwear for everybody in the family. Here to the left, toothbrushes, there's toothpaste, there's Kleenex, there's some wet ones. I think there's some mints in there. Down here on the left, this is a couple bottles of water and a bunch of granola bars. In the center here, this is my paper and pencil. I have a pen in there. I have blank paper. This is my set of keys to the house. Top right, these are extra glasses. If you wear glasses, I think most of us have an older pair. I don't want to not have glasses with me. If you've got glasses around the house, don't put them in a drawer somewhere. Stick them in this red bag and have them with you. Over here on the right, these are battery banks. I pull them out once every 6 months when we have daylight savings time. Pull them out and recharge them, make sure they're good to go. Next to that is the deck of cards. Just trying to think of how can I keep myself entertained. Here's a bunch of cords and chargers for my phones. These two orange things down here, these are my stacks of quarters. I have a flashlight. This little red thing is a grocery bag that comes in its own cute little bag. There in the center is my extra Subaru key. All this stuff is in my red bag in my closet. We're going to talk about the important information you might need after a disaster and thoughts about putting it in the cloud, storing it electronically in the cloud versus a thumb drive. What I do is I have it in the cloud. I am comfortable doing that. I know there's people that are not comfortable doing it. There's not one right answer. The pros of having it in the cloud is, I guess it depends on how risk averse you are, but I don't feel like it can be stolen. That's my take on things. And as long as I can get on a computer, I can get to that information. So that's what I'm comfortable with. Others would rather not put it in the cloud and have it on a thumb drive. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. I would encourage you to put a password on that thumb drive. And, the downside of putting it on a thumb drive is somebody could break into your home, see that red bag, grab it, grab that thumb drive, and they've got all your important documents. Maybe the deed to your house, copy of your social security card, birth certificate, whatever it is you put on there. So there's pros and cons to each. Any thoughts about or is there another way to do this that I haven't thought of yet besides a physical thumb drive?
I would suggest both. It's a self-encrypting drive, FIPS certified, so it has physical buttons on it that unlock it.
Oh, interesting. So it's a very secure thumb drive, basically. That's very cool. If you're going to put it on a thumb drive, I would encourage you to somehow encrypt it, password protect it. It's really just about how risk averse you are and what you're comfortable with. So think of where you're going to put important paperwork. The last thing I'm going to talk about, this is really a very short class. I knew that I could grab this red bag, but there are things in my home that if I had time, I would want to grab. So what I did, and I'm recommending you do, I took 3x5 cards and I have two of them on the back of my closet door. The first one says, please grab. These are things I would want to grab out of my home if the place next door was on fire and I had a minute. For me, I have family photos in my bedroom. I don't have a digital copy of them. I would want to literally grab those photos. They're incredibly dear to me. And sadly, I don't have a digital copy, which I need to get done. I write in a journal. I would want to take that. I would want to grab my laptop. And then I have a butter paddle that my grandmother used to make butter with. It's tiny and it's goofy, but I love it. So I would grab those things. I would suggest you do exactly that. Think about if you had time to grab stuff, what would it be? I would hope it would be something that maybe a little bit more meaningful that couldn't be replaced. My point is, write it down now. Yeah, I hope this never happens. But if you're scrambling to figure out what to grab, you may not choose smartly. So do the thinking now, put it on a piece of paper. It'll just help you get that much closer to actually grabbing what would matter to you. The second 3x5 card, if I'm incapacitated and somebody needed to call 911 for me, they could just read off these directions and people could find where I was. It was my address, gray house, red door, that kind of thing. So if somebody needed to call an ambulance or call the police for me, and I couldn't talk, but I could point to that closet. Hopefully they'd open it, see the little 3x5 card and go, oh, great directions. Because if somebody's visiting my home, they don't know my address. Those are the two 3x5 cards or pieces of paper I would recommend you write out and tape up on the back of your most of us have closet doors in, close to the front door. That's really all I have. It's just thinking ahead a little bit. The stay box, the get home bag, and then the go bag, something that you can grab and go to make that 6 hour, 12-hour wait in the emergency room easier, or your neighbor has taken you in because your house is on fire. You've got a little bit of comforting things with you. You've at least got a toothbrush and a spare pair of socks. I am not saying stop and grab this bag if your life is in danger. I'm saying get out of the building if that's what you need to do. Don't put yourself in danger just to grab this bag. All right. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.